Hello and welcome back to Tarot with Sahar on Tarot Tuesday. Today we're going to dive right into the tarot and I'll be using my Rider-Waite-Smith card. You can use whatever you like. I like this deck because of the solid colors that it employs and the intricacy of the drawing themselves. For me, the solid colors help trigger my intuition. So every time I look at them, I notice a new symbol, a little squiggle here, a geometric shape, or little details like that, as over here. And I just learn something new every day with them. And this is something I'd like to start with. I've got 2 rules with anyone who studies with me. And the first one is, please keep an open mind. When you have an open mind, you can accept new information, because the usual state of our brain is when we are introduced to something new, it feels threatening to the brain because it is new, it is not what we're familiar with, and what the brain does, it dismisses it and says, no, I know what I know, I don't believe this. So I find if I pretend that I just lay down my backpack and I listen with an open mind, you'll be more accepting of new information. And what you can do later is you can integrate it with what you know. Coupled with your experience as you practice, then you come out with your own unique interpretation of what each tarot card means to you. So remember that. My second rule is listen to everything, believe nothing. What I'm going to tell you, what I'm going to share with you is from my own experience. Yours might be different. Your cultural background, your life journey might be different. Your brain would have made different correlations, if you like, according to what you know, what you have experienced. So it doesn't mean that what I say is the only truth, but it's my truth. It's what I've learned over the last 30 years or so. So let me share that with you and listen. And as you practice, add to what you know. Don't think about it now, but bring that information in when you start practicing. Have a journal. It's always a good idea to have a journal so that you can keep notes. I still have my notebooks from nearly 32 years now. My cat is looking at me. So if you're allergic to cats, that's not good. If you're not, I'm not responsible if my cat jumps on the table and joins us. They often do when an episode is interesting. Now, the first card of the tarot is the Fool, and the Fool is no fool. The Fool is really a hero. The hero starts from zero. Zero here doesn't refer to nothing. It refers to a circle, which is infinite. It refers to naivety, purity, a state of equilibrium. It's neither good or bad, it's zero, and he's ready to embark on a journey, about to jump off the cliff. I say a hero really because he's quite courageous to kind of jump into the unknown. So already you know that this card represents new beginnings, taking a risk, about to jump into a new project, a new endeavor, a new life journey, a new location, geographically I mean, anything new. The Fool represents anything new. And at the end, because of all the trials and tribulations that he goes through, the world becomes his oyster. And I just want to show you the World card, because the Fool is transformed from zero to the world, which is really his oyster, and it's almost an androgynous expression of the Fool, meaning he overcame the duality of yes or no, you're with me or against me, which is what is really amazing about this journey of life. That we become less opinionated, more open to experience, and more connected to the elements, but also to the cosmos or to the universe. Neutral. Help me out here, guys. So what I want to say is we move from a state of unknown to being connected with all that is, if you like. Now, the way that I do the tarot is I start with the major cards, and the way that I put the deck away is I separate them, so minor cards, major cards, and I put them like that. Sometimes I use a pouch, otherwise I keep them in a very nice box. I love boxes. And once in a while I clear them by intention. I also clear them using incense. I clear them using crystals, whatever appeals to you. I love essential oils or organic perfume. I spray them. I don't usually let people handle my cards, because I also found that when they do, they tend to influence the card if they're emotionally charged. Like, say someone is asking about a relationship and they really, really want that relationship to work. I found that I tend to see what they want to happen rather than what will happen. So I started not giving them the cards to shuffle. I shuffle on their behalf, but I spread the cards in front of them. So back to the Fool, the first card, and if you can maintain a state like the Fool, do not be afraid to make a fool of yourself. Experiment, write notes, start a journal, and allow your own intuition to come through. You will notice there are very strong colors in the tarot. Yellow, red is another color, gray is another color. I'll be talking about these as we go through the cards. But it's also nice to kind of start noticing why are the colors important. For me, when I see a new interpretation of the tarot, of specifically the Rider-Waite, and sometimes they use pastel colors and whatever, it just doesn't work the same with me. So notice what appeals to you more. Hey kitty, I'm busy. Notice what you respond or react to. Notice what triggers your intuition. And oh yes, the other thing that I want to say is what everyone usually comments on very quickly, especially in the few tarot books that I've written. Readers always write in very kindly and say, you got the numbers wrong. Empress is 8 and Justice is 11. And I say, no, this is the right order. And we will talk about numerology. So this is another thing. With the major cards, you've got a title, you've got a main character, usually a person, you've got a number. So these three elements, the picture, the number, and the title, are very important. They help you to make connections, and they're helpful to interpret what the card means. When we get to the numerology, you will understand that 8 is the number of justice, and you will understand that 11 is the master number, and it's about being upgraded, if you like, vibrationally. So the first thing that we do is we swap these numbers around, and it's not a printing mistakes. When the first tarot deck came out, the first known or common tarot deck, which is the Tarot of Marseille, these were the numbers. Justice was 8, and the Strength was number 11. So when they were commissioned, is what I want to say. When they were commissioned the first time, it was without the pictures. They still carried 8 and 11. And then I don't know why, when they were commissioned to Smith to illustrate them, they went back to what people were using at the time, which is the 8 and the 11. But for me, vibrationally, this is more accurate. I do the same. My teacher, former teacher and friend and mentor, Marion Jose, does the same. Her mom did the same, and I think her 4 bearers. She comes from a lineage of psychics and seers, and I'm continuing with that. It's up to you, of course, but when we get to the numbers, this will make sense to you. So you're not going to be afraid to make a fool of yourself. You're not going to be afraid to take notes. And I want you to realize that you are the greatest force in the universe, in the sense that everything will come to you, but it's up to you what your choice is. You've got self-will, and the tarot is not merely about divination. It's really more about self-growth and transformation. Now, one of the first exercises that I normally like to begin with is what I call the infinity exercise. I think I'm gonna grab this pen because it's thick. Does it work? Yes, it does. And what you want to do is to start with an infinity sign like that. The bigger the better, but you can start small and go larger, and it just helps you connect both halves of the brain. And the thing is not to do it too quickly, but to go over the lines as closely as you can. I can't see really very well because I've got the mobile and the camera hanging over the piece of paper, but that's the idea. You start with your strong hand, and then you move the pen to your weaker hand, and you continue to trace both halves of the infinity sign as close as you can. And you do this as many times as possible until you feel you've done it and you're really close. And then you hold the pen with both hands, or the pencil, doesn't really matter, and you do the same. You go over the infinity sign as close as you can several times, and you will feel a little bit of like a click, and this is when both halves of your brain are working together, and this expands your ability to not only to learn something new, but also it expands your psychic ability, so to speak. So start with the infinity exercise. Another way is to cross your arms and legs. So, this way. So you cross your palms with the thumbs down, and you clasp your hands, and then you fold them into your chest, and you do the same with your legs. You put the right ankle over the left ankle, and you fold your feet under the chair. I tend to sit that way when I do readings for clients, and I breathe. I take 3 deep breaths. I breathe very slowly to kind of allow that shift of gears, if you like. Now, the other thing that I want to say to you is that reading the tarot is in 3 parts. So the first part is the knowledge of the cards, what they mean, what does each card actually mean. The second third is your own psychic ability. So the more that you relax, the more that you ground yourself, the more that you do the infinity sign, there are more exercises in your psychic power, which is the second book, I think, that came out last year or the year before. So you can look into that. Also, all the tarot books that I wrote have these exercises, or even more exercises. You can choose any book, whatever appeals to you first. So partly it's what the card means. The second part is your own development of psychic ability. And the last thing, it's you, the Fool. You're going to give the final color to what you're going to learn today. So the more, again, neutral you are, the more open-minded, the more self-aware, the more you go through life observing it so that you can learn from it, you can learn the details. Your brain will in turn make the connections that allow you to give better reading, whether for yourself or for other people. So know your cards, that's very important. Practice and work on yourself. So keep a record, yes, do your exercises and practice. Now, how can you practice? You can choose any card of the major cards. You can just, I say start with the major cards, and as you get used to them, you can move to the minor cards with more confidence. If you get this right, you will get the whole story, or most of the big picture anyway, because the major card is about the major journey, the major changes and transformations that we go through. And okay, I'm distracted here by my kitty. No food now. The more that you'll be able to tell what the cards mean once you get to do a spread. So shuffle, pick up a card, see it or put it down, and don't be scared of this card. We'll come back to it. Most people are scared of this card, the death card, the judgment card, but there's nothing to be scared about. And you see how your day goes, and come back at the end of the day and write your own notes about whatever card you picked up. So that's important. It's also important for me now that I picked it up. Right, so these are a few tips about how to start with the tarot. start with the Fool, you can lay them out in order. So we're gonna say 0, and then we're gonna go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. Put all the cards in front of you, open them up and lay them like that, and then pick them up in order. So 2, and there's a reason for this, which I will tell you in a minute. So 1, 2, 3, and then we've got the Emperor, number 4, maybe that's enough. I'll go to 5, I think, and I'll put 6 here. I don't want to overwhelm you. If you're starting, I want you to stay interested in what the tarot mean and this transformational journey, so you won't lose interest in what we're talking about. So the tarot starts, so the Fool starts his journey joyfully. He's leaping. He's got his dog with him. The dog is a white dog, and that kind of indicates spirituality. So it's important to notice these little things. And what is really good actually is if you stop this video and you look at the card by itself, and before I describe anything, if you can write down what you notice about this card, what appeals to you, what doesn't appeal to you, and what do you think it means when it's reversed upside down. We're gonna go into reversing the cards later on, but if you start from now, you can refer back to your notes. How does it compare to this card, for example? What do you notice here the difference is? Here, there's nothing, there is very little. There's a pouch that he carries, that he keeps all the essentials in. It is a good day, the sun is shining, he's about to take an adventure, he's very nicely dressed, so probably comes from a good background. He's holding a white rose, he's got a feather on his hat, so rather privileged maybe too privileged, I don't know. What do you think? And he's about to take a leap. And next time we meet him, he is the Magician, and the Magician looks more authoritative. So there is red, which is a very fiery, grounded color, if you like. There is the white again, the spirituality, and we've got the red roses, and we've got the white lilies. So maybe you're already beginning to see that there is white, there is red, and for me the yellow is just fantastic, because yellow stimulates the intellect, and the Magician is do, think. He's infinitely creative. He's got the 4 elements in front of him, and you will see this suit in the minor cards, which are the cards that I've left here. Now the minor cards, interestingly, are the closest to the regular playing cards. In fact, they're based on them, or they evolved out of them, because when the tarot... Okay, you can come up, and then everybody will meet you. Come up. Come up. So the elements, these 4 elements, which are the coin, the cup, the sword, and the baton or the wand, you will see those come up in more details in the detailed minor cards. And the detailed minor cards are the closest thing to a deck of playing cards. In fact, the tarot evolved out of there. We'll talk about the origin of the tarot later on. So for today, until we meet next week, focus on these cards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll leave this for next time, and there's a reason for why I'm asking you to do this. And let's compare next week if your notes are similar to what I'm gonna say, and hopefully you remember this progression and you will begin to understand the meaning of the cards. Let me know what you think. Let me know if this is something you already know. Let me know what you didn't know, and I really look forward. So please don't forget to comment and subscribe to the channel if you would like to see more tutorials. And until we meet next time, stay blessed and keep shining your light. See you on Tuesday, Tarot Tuesday.